Hi, my name is Jonathan Bradshaw. I'm going to be talking to you today about tuning your guitar. So this is kind of a basic guitar ability, but it's actually one of the best techniques that we can master. Now the reason for this is not only will it always ensure that we can make our guitar sound good, but it's also going to train our ear. Now we're not going to be doing this with an electronic tuner. You know, electronic tuners are a great resource, but they can end up handicapping you from being able to just take care of things yourself. And I mean, there's always going to be some situation you wind up in where you're not going to have your tuner, your guitar's going to be out of tune, and you should just be able to, no matter what, make your guitar sound good. Alright, so first off, let's talk about some things we're going to encounter. Because we're going to be tuning by the neck of the guitar, which means we're going to be matching pitches on the neck. So one thing we're going to hear, you know, as we create a note, we're creating a sound wave. This wave is going to rise and it's going to fall with these crests and troughs. Alright? Now, number of time it crests a second is going to determine its wavelength, which is going to determine its pitch. Alright? So, now let's look at two sound waves against each other. Once again, the number of times that this crests per second is going to determine the pitch of it. So obviously, this is going to be at a higher pitch than this one because it's cresting more times, and so it's vibrating faster. Now, if we look at this, we can see, some instances where the waves are working together, like right here. We can also see instances where our waves are working against each other, where when they're working at different pitches and they start working against each other, they're actually going to cancel each other out completely. Now what's going to happen as we are tuning is that you're going to hear this as an audible as a wave. So you're going to hear, as you're tuning, this whoa, 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 whoa. And it will be at different speeds depending on how in tune or out of tune you are. So whenever we encounter this is a sure indicator that our pitches are not matching, and it's when we can rid ourselves of these nodes completely that we are finally in tune. All right, so now what we're going to do to make sure that we're in tune with the rest of the world, we're going to use a tuning fork. Now, a tuning fork, for those who have never seen them before, aren't really that loud, can't really hear it at all. But what a tuning fork does really well is it transfers its resonance to other objects. And so we'll hit it, place it onto our guitar, and it's going to create a pitch. Now the fact that it's metal and the thickness of the tines and their length will determine a specific pitch. And as long as we don't do anything to damage it or break it, it will always create a specific pitch and will never be affected by humidity or any other factor. So this is tuned to A440 megahertz, which is kind of our universal standard for tuning. So we're going to find that on our guitar on the high E string at our 5th fret. So we're going to hit it, hold it to the guitar, and compare it to ours. Now what we're listening for is trying to determine if our note that our guitar is producing is higher or lower than what this is producing. Now in this case, my guitar is producing a pitch that is lower, so I'm going to raise it up. So I'm going to find the tuner that corresponds with that string, I'm going to tighten it. And in this case, on my acoustic, in order to tighten, I'm going to turn it clockwise. So we're always sitting there listening to the pitch, trying to determine whether or not it's higher or lower or in tune. Alright, so once we've got this first string tuned, we're going to move on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the 2nd string at the 5th fret, and we're going to compare this to our open 1st string. And now, the waves colliding like I was talking about earlier is evident now between this 1st and 2nd string as a very, very fast moving wah. that you hear. So this is whoa, 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 whoa. So once again, this indicates to us that our guitar is not in tune. So what we're going to do is determine once again, whether the string that we're tuning now is higher or lower. So, and we can determine that the second string right now is higher. So we're going to take it down. Now if you remember with the first string, in order to raise it, we had turned it clockwise. So now with the second string, now that we need to take it down, we're going to turn this counterclockwise. Now a good thing to remember is that you don't want to make drastic changes when you're tuning the guitar. Small changes are much better. These help you keep track of where you're at, and so that you don't get lost. With big movements, we're just making these huge jumps, we can't keep track of things, and we're just hoping more that by luck we're going to tune. All right. So I'm still a little high, so I'm going to keep on going. Now once I get these to the point where I can't hear any waves in the sound anymore, when they're working completely in unison, that indicates to me, that I'm in tune. Now at this point we're going to kind of diverge from kind of the standard neck tuning method, and we're going to go into something a little bit different. We're going to tune by octaves. Now the reason that I use this system is because the standard neck tuning system of the guitar has kind of a built-in error in it. So say I tune my second string, and say I get it really, really close, but it's not quite there. As I move on to my third string, and then I'm using my second string then as the standard for the third string to tune off of, that little error is built into the third string now, because no matter what, that third string is setting itself to the second, which has an error. Now say with the third string I do the same thing. I get it really, really close, but it's not quite there. That is now compounded with the error from the second, and now I'm adding that all into the fourth. And so what we get is, as we move across the strings, our error gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, we have ways that we can go back and check and make sure that we're getting everything correct, but that's additional steps that we have to do in order to tune. What we can do to try and just do one system is tune these first two strings the way we just did. And then what we're going to do is set the rest of the strings by these first two. That way, if there is an error, it's just going to be small. It's just going to be between these first two, and everything will be set off of that. So we don't compound our error. If there is an error, it's just one. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is on my high E string, I'm going to hold the third fret, which is a G, and I'm going to compare that to my open G string. Now that this is slightly flat right now, and there's a very slow wave going on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust it until I hear both those strings working in unison. Alright, so next step, for the fourth string, I'm going to take my open high E, I'm going to hold the second fret on my D string, which is the fourth string of the guitar. I'm going to compare these two. So right now my D string is sitting too high, so I need to take it down. Now a quick note with tuning things down, whenever we loosen a string to take it down, it kind of opens it up to loosening even more. Strings are kind of stubborn and they kind of fight you all the time. So as we loosen them, they just want to loosen more and more and more. So what we're going to do is, as we tune down, we're going to take it a little bit too far and then tighten it back up. And we always want our last tuning action to be a tightening action, because that's going to provide a stability to the string. Good. And as you can see, I've turned it down and turned it just a little bit back. It's going to make it nice. Alright, so for our fifth string, I'm going to take my open second string now, and I'm going to compare that to the second fret on my fifth string. So once again, this string is sharp. So what I'm going to do Then I'm going to take it down too far, and take it a little bit back until that ends up in tune. Now finally, the outer strings of the guitar are both E's, and so we can just play them open against each other. Now this is a little bit flat, so I'm going to take it up. Now a quick note, as the strings get thicker and thicker, it's going to take less and less movement to affect them. So the amount I had to move this string to get into tune as compared to, say, my high E string is very small. Because the string is so thick, it does not take much at all. So, it can vary anywhere from 5 minutes to 25 minutes, and I have had it take that long. But if you stick with it and you keep trying, every time your guitar starts sounding a little funny, just investing that time to tune it and make sure it's right. It will get better. And you'll get to the point where you can tune your guitar in under a minute. And that's really where you should probably plan on ending up. But once again, the great part about being able to tune the guitar just by the neck is it's going to train your ear to be able to listen to the guitar better. You're going to hear it better. And no matter where you're at, you'll always be able to get it sounding nice. Hey, thanks for your time.